Welcome back. This is the Safe and Effective Podcast. I'm your host, Right Wing Rico. If you know what I report on, then you can understand why they call me Right Wing Rico, but I'm just regular Rico. I don't really know if I'm exactly right wing, but just having basic common sense, I guess, makes you right wing nowadays. So be it. Um, I guess that I'm going to be reporting on this makes me right wing as well. We've called this from day one. And that's why I told people the fires were intentional. This is not it's way too much of a coincidence that there were already plans in place to do this because the city announced, back during the lockdown, they wanted to take this land. They wanted this property. The initial way they were going to take it was this. They were going to they went in an attempt to bankrupt the property owners, whether they be corporations or especially mom and pop individuals. They wanted to bankrupt them. How? What they did was the state of California had enacted eviction moratoriums that lasted for 3 years. So if you had tenants that you were on during the lockdown that wanted to play the game of not paying their rent, there was nothing you could do for years. I know a lot about this. Because I'm in the short-term housing game and Los Angeles is my base. I watched it happen for years. The way it works, you can't pay, if I don't have to pay rent as a tenant, how are you supposed to pay your mortgage? They extended moratorium relief to tenants. It was very limited for the property owners. So they knew that eventually you were going to buckle under the financial pressure and have to sell. In that situation, the city mandated that they had the first right of refusal. So it was the state and the city had the first right of refusal. After that, then you could sell it to an investor or an outside separate party. But before then, you were obligated to sell it to the city or the state. They saw that opportunity, the lockdown. They used the scamdemic, which it was definitely everyone now everybody knows it's a scam. They used the scamdemic to force people to give up properties that normally they would have never had a chance to acquire, because that is generational wealth. A lot of these people, the properties were passed down from, their family members in the 40s and the 50s. And if you keep it up, then you can keep making money off, especially in a place like California. For those who did not buckle in these very expensive areas, if they didn't buckle under the eviction moratorium, well, now they burnt you out of your house by remotely detonating your smart meter, and all these homes and all this prime real estate went up. Palisades and Alta Vista and Easton or whatever, all those areas of prime real estate, and this was all done on purpose. So this is from the post millennium. Los Angeles requires Pacific Palisades to rebuild for Palisades to rebuild to have low income housing. They made it a law that Palisades, a very expensive and affluent area, now must have low income housing. Who are you to tell me the type of people I'm supposed to bring into my area or into my property? The special thing that made the United States unique was that the king could not just come over here and decide they want your house and take it from you. We have laws, property protection. The government, the state's not supposed to be able to just come snatch your property and just say, okay, we're going to use it for this and tell you what to do with your property. That's why in certain states, there's a lot of pushback, especially here in Texas, when someone tries to tell you, well, you can't do Airbnb at a property that you own. I own it. I don't give a damn about your city ordinances or whatever you don't like that I'm doing. It's my property. Property rights is what makes the country the country. That law, that privilege that you actually have authority over your own private personal property makes the difference between us and, let's say, communist China or another country. A law in Los Angeles could require the Pacific Palisades to include affordable housing to replace older buildings destroyed in the Southern California wildfires. and for newer buildings where owners cannot prove that their rental units had low-income tenants in the past 5 years. According to the Washington Examiner, the new Resident Protections Ordinance, RPO, will go into effect shortly. Requires that a higher opportunity areas and moderate opportunity areas units deemed or presumed to be occupied by persons or families above the lower income category shall be replaced with lower income units. The ordinance applies to housing subject to form of rent or price control through a local government's valid exercise of its police power. In LA, which includes Pacific Palisades, which has been designated a high opportunity area, all apartment buildings built before 1978 are subject to the city's rent control ordinances. Wow. Owners have to prove that over the last 5 years or before the fire's destruction that they had tenants that had high income, that the tenants had high income. If not, the city will apply the percentage of extremely low income, very low income, and low income households in the same proportions as their share of all renter households within the city of Los Angeles. What in the hell? So they're trying to just force people to live around people of different economic status. Why? If I work hard and I do well and I'm accomplished, why would you force me to accept people to live around me who are less than accomplished or those who don't want to work? Matter of fact, why would you want to bring in lower income and lower class people to my affluent area? There's other areas in the cities. Why would you want to bring them here? What that does is that lowers property values. That changes your appraisal. It changes the area. It changes the demographics of your city. And it makes your property value go down and become less desirable, because now you're closer to the element that you paid all this money and you worked so hard to earn so that you could flee away from. What they're telling you is that you're going to have to flee to another state, because if you move to a better area, now the city will obligate your area to accept the people from other parts of the city that you don't want to live around. And that if you ask them, they do not want to live around you. They want to rob you. They want to hurt you. They want to break into your homes. These are people who are lower in. And so if you're moving in lower in, low income property renters, when they're watching people who are higher end drive past them in cars and live around the corner in nice houses, what do you think is going to happen when you're mixing all these people together? You think it's going to be a smooth transition where everyone's just going to get along? No, that's not how it works. This is California. We don't have self-defense laws. We don't have guns. So when someone's looking for a home to break into around the corner from you, now it's easier than ever for them to get to you. They live right there. They don't work. That's why they're in lower income housing. So now they're just hanging around your area, disturbing the peace, creating issues with law enforcement and with the neighbors. Now you no longer have sovereignty over your own property. That's why I told people, get the hell out of California. I left. Why in the world would I buy property and live and do business in California when, for one thing, the governor, because of what I saw him do during the lockdown, can just come and just shut down your business and shut you down and shut down the state if he wants to, and they just open up whenever. Every time a court passed every time a judge passed a ruling stating that the lockdowns were illegal and this, what they would do is they would just draft up another bill and push it back through. And now you got to go strike down. You got to go strike that one down. So they just kept doing it. They're skirting the law. That's why I love what Trump is doing right now, because, well, we've learned that there is no way for you to enforce it or stop it. You can just do whatever you want. Biden did unconstitutional, illegal vax mandates, but everyone told him he couldn't. And guess what he did? He did it anyway. Everything, they just did it anyway. They didn't care if it was legal or not. Right now in California, they're pushing all this through. There definitely has to be safeguards and protections against this. Forcing lower income people into Pacific Palisades. So you're forcing people now. They can't even just rebuild in the image that it was in before. They have to rebuild in a new image that incorporates lower income people. So that means some people can't rebuild even if they want to. These are the permits that they're not going to give people that Trump was talking about. These are the reasons why they're not going to be able to bring back these cities in these areas, because now they're trying to move the element that everyone wants to escape in California, especially in Los Angeles. They're bringing the element to you. They're bringing these demographics of people that you don't want to live around, and you're forcing them into your neighborhood. And guess what you have to do? Sell your home and move. But your values just went down. Your values went down. So guess who's going to want to be the next big investor? Gavin Newsom, state of California, the city of Los Angeles. Don't believe me? This is from the year 2020. And this is what it came to, the eviction moratorium over the scamdemic and the mandates.
To quickly get people who are on the streets housed.
In a Zoom interview with me, Bonin responded to the criticism.
What's your response to them essentially saying you're being predatory by using this emergency to take up their properties?
This is an
Think about it. The fires were an emergency. Now they're using it to take your property. The scamdemic, when they told you to be afraid of the air, that was the emergency that they used to take people, to steal people's property from them, force them into having to lose it so that they could take it.
attempt by the city to prevent predatory behavior. Last time when there was an economic crash, 2008, 2009, hundreds of thousands of residential units across the country were bought up by hedge funds, and as a result, lots of people got evicted.
Bonin tells me if local properties and hotels are inevitably going to go under during this crisis, the city should take advantage and house the homeless at a major discount.
If apartment complexes and hotels are going to go under because they knew what they were doing, they purposely made sure you didn't have to pay rent. So how are they going to pay on the loans that it took to purchase these properties? This is predatory. They preyed on these people and they took their property. They're doing the same thing now.
Rather than let those properties fall to venture capitalists.
This may be the best opportunity in a century to add significant affordable housing stock to the city of Los Angeles.
Trying to add more affordable housing stock to the city of Los Angeles. This is what they mean by they will not let a good disaster go to waste. But obviously, in this case, they created this disaster. This was all done on purpose, methodically. They want this. They want this land. They want Malibu. They want beachfront property. I mean, Palisades. They haven't even announced what they're going to do to Altadena yet. They want Palisades to be low income and homeless housing. So let me explain to you how this works. They're going to tell you it's low income housing. A $3,000 apartment, they'll let you rent it for $750. Okay, so there's a $2,250 downfall. If they designate that property as being low income or homeless housing, they can now apply for the government to pay a stipend to cover that spread. So not only do they own the property and they're getting the $750, but they're getting the other $2,250 from the government. But they bought it for pennies because they forced you to sell to them when nobody was paying rent and the values went down, or when they started moving homeless and low income people into the area and your property values plummet. Right now, California officials are watching people get rich off of real estate, and they're not getting their cut. They want their cut. They want the means of production and the means of housing, the means of insurance to all be provided by the state. That's essentially communism. That's where my family's from. That's Cuba. That's China. You can't own property, but they'll lease it to you for 99 years. This is the state provides everything, and you have to work with them. They control the means of production. So this is a robbery that just took place.
They better be in for the fight of their lives because we are going to fight them.
Bonin tells me the rest of the city council is in favor of this proposal and they're looking to fast track it, but It will ultimately be up to Mayor Garcetti to give it the green light.
It's definitely going to get the green light. This is the post-millennium. This is 5 years later, reporting on how they're doing this, but they're using the fires as an excuse to move in people into these areas, lower your property value, and force you to sell because you don't want to live around them. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So do me a favor, share this video, like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, Safe and Effective Podcast, the same name for Rumble as well, and YouTube. We're building up our subscriber base. We're going to have more videos, and we're going to be doing different types of content. So we appreciate the support. We're not monetized at the moment, so we do have a few ad reads and sponsors. So support our sponsors. Cosigning.com is one of them. If you need an apartment or a house, but you don't want to ask a friend or family member to be your cosigner because it can strain your relationship if they say no, visit co-signing.com and they will match you with a qualified cosigner today. That way you don't have to ask anyone and you can move to the home of your dreams. Don't let not having the credit or the income affect you when it comes time to move. And this is actually a really good service that I've used myself in the past. And it's for people that are going to need to move in California, you're definitely going to need it to escape what they're trying to do to your homes. So do me a favor, like and subscribe. Here comes some word from our sponsor. And then we'll be back on in an hour with an update on the last story we did earlier about the book burning. Thank you.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.